everything we covered, whether it was Instagram. We didn't cover that much social circle stuff or networking or status stuff. And
Well,
I
let's do
definitely
it.
find,
I love social
yeah,
circle things. The thing is, I don't really get the chance to ask it on panels much because
for
it's really
sure.
only
Yeah.
you, me, and Michael Sartain that are actually into it.
We might have to have a social circle panel. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
Full on
that
social
has been
circle,
in the
hardcore.
plans. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down. Me and Michael are friends. Definitely something. I think a big thing. Yeah, I just moved. I did a challenge recently at the start of the year. It was called the Social Circle Challenge. So build a social circle in 30 days, and I did it in Los Angeles. And I think the big thing that I noticed, I filmed the whole thing, which was really cool. So there's a video people can look at for 30 days. I document every single day, which is super cool. And
Mm.
it really comes down to, I very much leveraged a lot of the Instagram, the dating apps. I leverage the thing I call it the yes man theory, which is the understanding of the more things you say yes to, the more opportunities come your way. So you say yes to the lunch, you say yes to hosting something, you say yes to going and playing paddle, you say yes to hosting an event. You will find that your social circle will definitely explode by this theory, which is called the yes man theory, of just saying yes
Oh,
to
I
as many
agree.
opportunities. It's crazy how many opportunities guys get, and they're saying no, 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 no. And as soon as they like
Mm.
change that, it's huge. I don't know how you've done that, but that's one of the things that I was able to film. And for me saying yes, one of them was to fly to Vegas. The other one was fly here, go there, do this. And we had an epic, I think at the end, we have this big party. I won't surprise, if anyone wants to watch the video, but yeah, there's a huge party at the end. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's very interesting. I'm getting the chills thinking about this now because you
Yeah.
say yes, man. There's of course the movie, obviously, but
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, it wasn't the case of saying yes to things like of
Hmm.
people asking me of something, but me simply doing things because I wanted to do them
Yep.
and
Gotcha.
never letting other people say you shouldn't do that or whatever. I'm the boss of myself. I'll fucking do whatever I want. So
Yep.
I got all kinds of crazy examples over my lifetime, but you know, it's my mindset at the core. It's simply I do something and I see
Mm.
where it goes. I had no particular plans for my YouTube channel. I was just like, I have an interview with Ross Jeffries. I'll put that on. I got a few other videos back in the RSD days. I
Yep.
just did these fucking things.
Hmm.
I'd simply see how dots could potentially connect.
Yeah.
So I never really aspired to interview people, but um, here's a very simplified version. Someone gave me the book, The Game.
Yep.
Um, and he did the same for another guy. The other guy didn't bother reading it. I was like, I don't even read books, but I'll fucking give it a shot. I said
Sure.
yes, essentially. And then
Yeah.
I looked into real social dynamics. That's how I discovered you. That's how I discovered all the guys there. And then I didn't say yes to opportunities, but I looked for them
Yep.
subconsciously. It's just what I do naturally. And I ended up working with I think it was Max first, or
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think it was Max first, and then Luke, and then Ozzy, and then it spiraled
Yep.
out of fucking control from there. But essentially, my first video was probably with Ozzy or something, him doing some kind of seminar. And I
Yep.
was like, I'll just start a YouTube channel or something. It's like the natural thing to
Nice.
do. I'm just collecting information. And one thing led to another, and here the fuck I am. So I just follow my instincts and see where things take me, and I use my own
Good.
ideas to make other things happen. Like my background here, I get a QR code.
Yep.
Before
It's
this QR
perfect.
code, the QR code leads to an AI wingman. Before the AI wingman, there was a book. Before the book was a Google Docs file. Before the Google
Yep.
Docs file was just an idea that I had in my mind. I have these ideas and I make them happen. That's just how
That's
my
the idea
life
of saying
works.
yes. Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
you've got given the idea, and now it's you're the vessel from God to be able to make that idea.
I'm a
Yeah,
doer guy. Just give me an
yeah,
idea and I'll fucking do it.
that's good, man. Yeah, that's the initiative that a lot of the guys have to take. One of the rules of my program, we talk about life rewards people that are initiators, that they go after things. They're not the weak-willed or meek-willed. They're meek-willed, not meek-willed. They're guys that go after it. And so if you could do that like you did, man, that's where you got the success, and that's what other guys can take away. Sometimes it's not the most complex of topics. It can be something like that, just initiative. Be the initiator, be the initiator of the conversation, be the initiator of the hosting, the event, the DM, the Instagram, like all these different things, like you did. Just the idea. Let me not make it amazingly perfect, but let me just start the idea, which is Google Doc and then a book and then this, and now
Mm.
you've got your app, and so it's just been a progression. Some people will see the end product and they're like, "Oh man, I want to get that." It's like, well, you got to go through the iterations first. I want to have the 150 person party. It's like, yeah, well, I've also thrown parties that no one came as well. So it's the
Yeah.
idea that you just got to go through it. You can't hack around the doing the work, really. Like we've all done, like everyone on the panel. I'm sure everyone on the panel is getting an amazing results, and that's the best part of it. And we're all bickering about what idea is best for the student. We all get an amazing results. The students, people just watching should be amazed that, us guys can do it. That we're no real different than them. We might have
Mm.
differences about us, but all they've got to do is just put in the effort and you get it. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, 100%. You touched upon this, but you said the idea of perfection, kind of briefly. Perfection is what stopped me in the
Yep.
first place. And once my friend taught me to let that go, that's when I actually really started to do things.
Right.
Because like I don't have a perfect background behind me. If I took this away, if I didn't think of these things like years ago, I never would have started. So what
Yep.
stopped me was I don't have a good computer, I don't have a good microphone. But what drives me is I can go fucking get one. I can fix that. I can do like my format because I've been living in isolation for years. I don't have an in-person podcast. What I can do is these Zoom calls. And essentially the advantage is I can reach anyone with internet connection, but it takes away the in-person factor of being, it would be great to have meet these people in person. I haven't
Yeah.
met you in person, but at least I can still reach you, man.
100%. Well, that's the best way. Yeah. Yeah, you're not alone in that ice where it's like a lot of people are finding that they look at the celebrities or the people and they go, "Oh, look how good they're doing," which is fantastic. What I did that really helped me was I looked back at, like, if you're starting, let's just say a YouTube channel, and you're looking at the biggest celebrities, your KSIs or your, whoever. Look back at their very first video, the very first one in YouTube. You
Mm.
can scroll by oldest. That's who you're competing with, not the version of them now, but the old version of them. So I've definitely done that
Ah,
where
interesting.
I've never, because they've done 10 and a half years of work, which is great. But look back at, it's your first video. Look back at their first video 10 and a half years ago and see, well, is yours better than that? And you'll be like, yeah, heck yeah, it is. Perfect. Then you're on your way. So that's a big thing that a lot of them can you hear me, brother?
Just switching right on the
Yeah.
battery there.
I have to switch mine as well. Fucking 3 hours, fucking something like that, 3 hours 45, getting it done. But yeah, that's about it with that. We'll definitely have to organize that social circle stuff. I think we can go really far deep in some new
Oh
concepts there
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
So I made a list a year ago, and it's I still got it here. Social Circle Game panel. I only got five names: Dan Bilzerian, Justin Mark, Michael Sartain, Sam Effson, you, and Sterling Cooper. To
Yeah.
make that happen, I know Dan's super fucking busy, um, and I know what his interests are, but if I can get Justin has been here before, you've been here before, Michael's been here before. If I could get Sterling Cooper, that would make things more interesting. But yeah, I thought before, even just a discussion with just Justin and Michael, that would be interesting enough. But having a full-on social circle game panel would be the most amazing thing because it's such an overlooked
Mhm.
form of game and
Yeah.
it just makes things so much more efficient.
Yeah,
So
dynamic.
the,
Especially
the
when you're
way I
doing work.
the
Like you're
way I thought about it years ago is all these other guys are doing code approaches. They're going one, 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 one. What I want to do is do one plus one plus one plus one and make that a bigger number over time. And here's another way I see it. Instead of going to a club, meeting a bunch of women, taking one. How about I use Tinder, get a match, use the club because I had backstage access and on stage access and everything. Use the club as a date,
Yep.
take a match from Tinder to the club as a date,
Yeah.
and that automatically makes me look like the best guy in the club already because I'm there with a date, and I can then meet more people anyway. So
100%.
that one took me maybe 8 months to not consider, but actually do.
Yep.
Um, but that was a very good way of doing it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just so much better. And the fact that having access to such things, none of these, I don't remember going to this particular club and seeing some random guy get shouted out by the DJ. But it happened to me when I'm at the top of my game and 1,000 people look up, oh, who's this motherfucking guy? That
Yeah.
is that's a great feeling. That's validation and everything. But for me, it's useful to whatever else is happening at that moment. That would be great content.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't have a fucking camera running, but I had a
Yeah.
woman with me. That's great for whatever is going on this date, for example.
Free
It's great
selection,
for so
social
many
proof.
other things,
Yeah.
connecting the dots in a much more efficient and expansive way.
100%. You couldn't have said it better. That's exactly it. A lot of the time, the guys that are either in business or entrepreneurship, they really understand social circle principles well. They understand the idea of like, when we say social proof and pre-selection, they understand that because they've been in a business. A business got social proof from being on television or a magazine or something like that. It actually improves their likelihood of getting a sale. So a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners really understand these principles very well. And it's almost like you take a mini business degree when you understand social circle because you can understand leverage and
Mm.
understand different things that you do. You do that like you're backstage. That speaks so much wonders for the girl. She's like, "Who the hell am I with? How are we here? How are we backstage? How's he getting shouted out? It's all crazy." So yeah, it's I want that podcast would be super good. It should be good to go real far down the rabbit hole and real niched because you can get that's where you're getting well, as I say, it's super niche, but it's when you really get it done, all of the stuff the guys were talking about, it's fantastic, absolutely, but it's not even needed. And that's where it's like, what do you mean it's not even needed? Like, when they're like, oh, is it trying when the girl is like, you want to know what's better than trying or not talking to the friend? It's like a hot girl introducing you to another hot girl. You don't have to do jack shit then. She's already
Yeah.
like, he's already talked
She
you up.
already has her own female friends. Why not take advantage of that?
Exactly. So it's like you don't even have to like put in the effort like the boys are like you're just like you can stand back practically say nothing and then she's like in awe and in love with you. And you're like, well, so once you have those kind of things, it makes everything look just you look at it from a different perspective. It's kind of like taking the pill and your eyes are wide open. You're like, wow, I can leverage certain things and certain activities and yeah, like me, I went to Colombia and I started making this Taco Tuesday, just something super simple bunch of the boys. But from there, I give an example. I take a story, I tag everybody in the story. They tag it to their stories, and now because I made the story, get all these influx of girls adding me from Medellin, Colombia, that I didn't even know of, just because I took one story. And it's like I made the
Mm.
event cool, I look good, but I also took the story, and now you can have a look on your Instagram. It went out to like 4.5, 5,000 people all up. That's fantastic because now there's a lot of eyeballs that are in the city that either know a little bit of me or a glimpse of me, and they might meet me. They might have some persuasion, like, oh, this person, that person, like we talked about the mutual friends. It's yeah, super topic that needs to be discussed because cold approach, yeah, it does get discussed. I'm not anti cold approach. I'm not like the other guys. I'm not anti. I
Mm.
like every sort of game. I just like, what works now? What's working? That's it. I don't care what
Oh,
it
I
is.
understand.
It's what works. That's it.
I like to say play the game that works for you because
Yeah.
some guys are lawyers, got a busy job. They're not going to do a day game, for example. Some
Yeah.
guys don't even like going to nightclubs like Ross Jeffries. He's too fucking old now, at least
Yeah.
for sure. But if you don't want to do day game, that doesn't mean you're fucking scared of cold approach or anything. It just means, oh,
Exactly.
I prefer night game, message game, social circle game. I believe the most effective um, form of game possible is the combination of message game and social circle game. And the reason I call it message game as opposed to the T word is texting is an action, but
Yep.
messaging is a marketing strategy. That is the
Right.
key difference.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's
Uh,
good. That's a good,
and
good use
it's
of
a
words.
much better way to think about it because it's not just messaging, but it's your entire virtual presence. And that
Yep.
is such a key thing because some guys don't have much or any of a virtual presence and they rely only on their physical presence. So I had this distinction for years of primary game, secondary game, primary being the physical world and secondary being the virtual world. And if you have no virtual presence, then you're relying only on the other side. And the same is true for the opposite. If you have both, that's
Yeah.
the maximal thing you can do. So it's one thing to rely on message game, dating apps, Instagram, Facebook, for example, but it's another thing to combine everything. So, for example, if you're like me, night game as well, then you could have some Instagram story from the time you went out at night. And then that
Yeah.
is used not only for your message game, but for your social proof. Even if you
Yeah.
just go on a date and you take a photo, uh, and the only thing you have from the date is a photo in your phone, then
Yep.
just a picture of the table and there's a pair of female hands with nice looking nails. Well, that's that's obviously a date. So those, while that's a more subtle one, there are so many other examples of a possible photo you could give, but
100%.
that's a good way to start with, at least for social
Yeah, for
circle.
a lot of guys. Yeah, for sure. The biggest way is you know, I would say like the biggest way to start a social circle is this idea where just go to a couple of places often. That's it. That's the first thing you do. And most guys are doing this. They go into the gym or they go somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, well, who do you know there by name? And they're like, oh, I don't talk to anyone there. And you're like, well, you're already surrounded by people. Or you got the other side where the people are like, oh, I don't leave my house. I'm like, well, leave your fucking house, dude.
No,
I
that
was
that's
like,
so true. Like here's a minuscule but
yeah,
days old example. Um, I here in Lima, like it's a food city, lots of good restaurants and lots of Japanese food, lots of Chinese food. So I'm like, I miss going to Japan. I want to have lots of Japanese food. So there's this Japanese restaurant nearby. Went to it once, went to it
yep,
twice. By the third time, the bouncer is greeting me and the waiter knows me. Even though we haven't spoken much, he knows, oh, he's the guy who likes to sit on this table, for example. And
yeah,
the recognition is there. And it's a pretty quiet place, so it's easy. There aren't many people who go there, but
yeah, yeah.
I'm like, does the Yakuza come here or some shit? It's so quiet, and they got a fucking bodyguard outside and for such a
Crazy.
quiet restaurant. Something suspicious is going on. But